You can hear commentary at the end. I will put chapters in later, but I want to get this up as quickly as possible. Here you're going to see toxins poisoning and killing our animals and poisoning our waterways. And try to watch the whole thing, and if not, you can watch a little bit and just go to the commentary. Please listen to what I have to say at the end. So I'm in Negley, Ohio, and this stuff is everywhere in the creeks. So I've got my black gloves on, and I just overturned a couple rocks, and you can see this all through the creek, all these chemicals floating through. Let me overturn some rocks here. You can see in the sunlight. This is not normal for this creek. See all that? That is insane. You can see it pulling up all through here. It's like an oily, I don't know what it is. Wow. I mean, and my house is right up the street and we're on well water. You know, I was thinking positive at first, but I'm not so positive now. And this is just in this creek running down. The crash site is up there, maybe as the crow flies, 1.5 miles or so. And it's all in this stream, beautiful stream. I mean, normally this is a beautiful area. And it's still beautiful, but it's right now it's contaminated with chemicals. Let me move some more rocks. Yeah. Wow, look at that crap. Wow. And that's just me disturbing a couple rocks. So there's beyond that, you can see some clear water. And this was all clear a minute ago until I moved some rocks. And look at that. That's a shame. It's a real shame. Everything that swims or crawls in here has been killed. So Negley, Ohio is the next town over. This may still be Palestine, I'm not sure. I live right up, I don't know where the border is. But I'm just moving some little rocks here. Create a disturbance, and let's see. Good God, look at that. Those are poisonous chemicals seeping into our land. And there it goes flowing down the creek. Or creek. Yeah, that's all covered. See that stuff? It's all some kind of chemical on top. So it's gonna move some rocks. I'm gonna see what pulls down into this little area. Oh yeah, oh my God. Look at this. I hope it might be hard to see on video. Oh my God, that's all just from moving one rock. You can maybe see it pooling here. See all this stuff? Oh my, that's... getting the reflection of the trees and everything. Yeah, it's more the reflection of the trees than it is. Hello. Oh yeah. I live right up the hill with the well. So is this your property?
Right here. No, it's fine.
Okay.
Oh,
Did you see that?
Oh, yeah.
You moved just some rocks, like looking for crayfish, and it all was pulling here, and I just moved some here, and it just comes up and. Oh, look at that! Look at this. I mean, I because of the reflection, I don't think it's capturing it really well on the phone.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it's all the way.
Oh, you can see it now.
Yeah, for sure.
Look at that. I'm Rick, by the way.
Oh, how you doing? I'm Steve.
I threw.
Yeah, that's quite all right.
I don't want to touch that crap.
No, I agree.
What
that's a pretty good idea.
So what do people think that is?
Oh, that's definitely that.
Is it vinyl chloride?
Acrylate.
Is it butyl acrylate?
Oh, for sure.
So I have people that work with that, and it comes up into their factory. You have to put a hose on it. Another hose goes on the vent, and it is not allowed to. You know what I mean? They say they hate to work with it because they say it's so toxic.
Oh, it is. Yeah.
Look at that. So
You see a bunch of dead rotten fish.
Dude, do I want to? Did you say?
Yeah.
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 But look at that. It just keeps coming out.
I took pictures. I was out of town. It's funny. It happened Friday night, and I had to leave 4 a.m. Saturday morning. I was out of town, and I came back and took the pictures as best I could of all the dead fish and everything.
Oh my God! I only turned over a couple rocks, and it just keeps coming out. And that's one little spot. Okay.
Yeah, come on up.
So
where do you live up on top of the hill?
McClure for like 30 years.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I've lived here for 30 years.
What's that?
I've lived here for 30 years.
Of all places,
Oh, I know.
you would never dream, but where would you wish it? I guess.
Well, and that's the funny thing is, the sad thing. So many people just been here their whole lives, and it seemed like the town was starting to get its act together,
Yeah.
and have this happen. This is going to ruin the town.
So I was thinking. I just was saying when I was turning over those rocks, I was trying to. I'm getting to the point where I'm trying to think positive, and hopefully everything's going to be all right. And then you turn over a couple rocks, and that stuff comes right up.
Yeah.
And not one place that I turned over, it didn't come up. So
No, it's all right. I did the thing that J.D. Vance was doing the other day, was scraping the bottom.
yeah.
I wasn't getting that. I'm not getting much of a smell anymore. Only smell I've got is smell of dead fish.
So we tested our water at independent lab.
They do?
Cardinal Labs.
Cardinal?
And stuff.
Yeah, everyone's going to Cardinal, yeah.
But when I talked to the guy after they released it, I said, hey, they said butyl acrylate was in the water.
Yeah.
And I called them and I said, well, I don't see it on the list. And he said, we can't test for it.
Really?
Yeah. And
Well,
he
another
said,
test that I had done, supposedly, it's on the list. That and benzene.
and where did you have that done?
Well, that was through the people that are testing the wells
Okay.
through the Department of Health. So yeah, they tested for benzene and
Yeah, they tested for benzene and like 20 other things.
yeah.
But maybe he was mistaken. He said they're an EPA certified lab.
No, okay,
But he said-
my wife had a list of what Cardinal was testing for. I thought it was.
And the guy that runs the whole place said the EPA does not have a certified test for
Oh,
to get-
really?
to determine if there's butyl acrylate in the water. And I asked him, you're telling me if I have a glass of water pure, a glass of water next to it on my counter, and it has butyl acrylate in it, the EPA does not have a specific test for that. He said that is correct.
Wow.
So,
That's the first I've heard that.
and I actually recorded it, but out of, I'm not gonna, it's like on my phone, but, so.
Yeah, they've been, I guess, from watching the news, they've had people up here picking up dead fish and everything. Apparently, they haven't made it the whole way up here.
Oh, okay. So you mean from the EPA or something?
Yeah, apparently.
Yeah, I grew
5 years.
Oh, okay. You got me beat as in you're 59 or?
59.
59, okay.
Yeah. So if you lived in, I'm the chiropractor in Darlington.
Are you Rick Chai?
Yeah.
I graduated with your sister.
Cindy.
Yeah.
I just talked to her on the phone because she's
Oh,
all
really?
worried about us. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's interesting. You know my nephew Hunter Schwartz then?
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I was responsible for his personal best bass. I took him bass fishing. Was that
awesome.
last year? Or I just saw his mom in the office yesterday, I think it was.
Oh, is that right?
Dawn, yeah.
Yeah.
So who is that to you?
That's my sister, yeah.
Oh, Dawn's your sister?
Yeah.
Oh, so your dad I've treated in the past.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, okay. He just had surgery to
I actually recommended that.
Oh, did you really?
It was so bad.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's still not dead.
Yeah.
Well, let's see. So you can see them in there on the bottom now.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, they're all over.
Oh, yeah.
Go
Yeah.
ahead, yeah, go ahead.
Oh, yeah.
They're starting to rot.
Yes. So you probably see no fish swimming around.
No, there's nothing.
Yeah, they're all
The only
dead.
thing alive I've seen down here is a muskrat.
And if it eats a dead fish, that's probably not a good.
He's pretty smelly.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I tried to see earlier. I didn't see any oil fish or anything.
Yeah.
Just,
Oh wait, if Dawn's your sister, I went to school with your sister Ann.
yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, yeah, small world, huh?
Yeah.
Well, if you're talking to Cindy, tell her I hope she's well, and I said hello.
Okay.
In a fish kill, the researchers take some fish to determine what killed them. They didn't need to take the thousands out in barrels like they did. It is because of PR. If they knew if the press saw all these fish, it would make horrible pictures. This looks like a normal stream from 20 feet away. This is the main creek that runs through Palestine, and everything is dead here, but from a distance, it looks normal. Great job.
So I've just returned. Steve took me upstream. This is his property. It turned out I knew his family, and I told him I was going to mess around in the creek just a little bit longer. But he was talking about how you put your heart and soul, your whole life, fixing up your property. He's got a beautiful piece of property. In the summertime, this is just absolutely beautiful. I know there's people that make fun of, they call us hicks, and we live in Ohio, but I've lived in Los Angeles. I've traveled all across the world. There's no place I'd rather be. He puts his heart and soul into fixing up his property all the years, and raising a family, and then the property has the potential of becoming worthless. The creek runs right through his property, and I'm going to film some more, and we're going to just turn over some rocks, and you're going to see how much what I presume is butyl acrylate in the creek. So I'm going to throw my gloves on. So we're going to start here, and then hopefully I'll be able to catch these chemicals in the sun. Oh my, and they're coming right out from under that rock. So you can, let's see. Oh yeah. I don't know if you can see all that. Yeah, see it going around the rock here. Where it pulls down there, we're gonna go take a look. I'm gonna move some more rocks. So he told me that all the fish are dead. He hasn't seen any fish swimming around, which he normally would. That chemical is just pouring. Look at that. It is just pouring out everywhere. And keep in mind, I've only moved a couple rocks. And unfortunately, I'm moving it with my ungloved hand. So let me grab the phone with my left hand. Let me do that, because I don't want to move any more rocks with those. Let me grab the phone with my left hand. Or actually, let me throw a glove on my left hand. All right, got gloves on both hands, and oh my God, you won't believe this. I just moved a couple rocks. We're gonna follow it down, and look at this. Look at that. That was all clear a second ago. I assume that's butyl acrylate. Holy crap. Now imagine there are thousands of rocks in here. I just moved a couple of them. And look at that. That's the top. That's the chemical, and there's the clear water. Chemical, clear water. Chemical, and clear water. I can only imagine what is seeping into the ground. I hate to say this because it doesn't do much for my property value, which is right up the street. But I'm a pretty honest guy. Anyway, what am I gonna do? Would you sell your property to somebody that you knew was infested with these chemicals? This sucks. And the health aspects of all this. Clear water, where it's coming into this little eddy. Look at that shit. I was starting to feel a little confident that maybe this is overblown. Anybody out there that is thinking that we're overreacting, please think again. Butyl acrylate is a horrible chemical. Oh my. All right, let's see how much more we can get. I'm gonna just move a couple more rocks.
Those of you that love nature, look how beautiful this stream was before it was ruined by the Norfolk Southern train bomb.
There's people here. There's more, I'm gonna guess townspeople or tourists or something on the bridge, probably wondering the same thing I'm wondering. And I can see the chemicals now already coming out from these few rocks that I just moved, and we're gonna follow it down. I mean, this is just a bit of rocks I'm moving here. Oh my, yeah. So you're gonna see it. Look at that shit. Look at all that coming down. Look at that just pouring in. Look at the extra stuff coming in. Let me see if I can get it. Hey, a lot of us are outdoors people, and we love to fish and we love nature. And honestly, people around the United States, we're all the same. There's not so many differences. We have more in common than we have the different. Just from moving those rocks, so much more is pouring down. This whole area is just filling with chemicals. And we've got clear over here. I mean, it just keeps coming in. You see all that? I don't know how much more I need to do. I'm gonna go down the creek a little bit, but that's all chemicals. See that white? All through here. And then we've got clear. That's all from moving just those few stones. And it just keeps on coming. Not sure if you can see it flowing in there. Yeah, see that? Right through there, you can see it flowing. That is crazy. That is crazy. Oh my. I wouldn't wish this on anybody's community. It's a mess. So this isn't about greed. It's about they're gonna have to do something. Oh my. they're gonna have to rectify this. And I think there's a lot of homes here that, I'm just in shock. Let me do what I can to get a really, see if we can get the sun out of there. You see all that? This part of the creek was clear a second ago, or a few minutes ago, before I moved the stones. All that white chemical. Butyl acrylate. Again, I'm saying that's what it is, I don't know, but that's what's been flowing down. That's flowing down from those few rocks that I moved right into this eddy here. He said he's seen a couple muskrats, he's seen no fish, and that muskrat has a belly full of poison fish. It's going to be in a little trouble too, so I think this is going to affect everything. Oh, it's just pouring out now. I probably just got a bunch on my shoes. I may have created a disturbance here. And it's pouring back in. It is really pouring in now. Clear water. I'm guessing it's butyl acrylate. I'm just gonna say chemical water because I'm not quite sure. Look at all that crap. Again, I created a disturbance. Beautiful creek. Doesn't get much more beautiful than this. Created that disturbance. And here we go. Look at that. Wonder what would happen if I drank that. And it just keeps coming in. I'll find out later if you can see that. When I see it on the computer, a little hard to tell if you can see it on the phone. Oh boy. Another man-made disaster took my sense of smell, a lot of it, but oh, I really smell this now. So one of my protective senses is gone since I got COVID almost 2 years ago. And you can see, like an idiot, I keep sniffing real hard to try and smell, which you'll find later was a big mistake. I'm gonna go down the creek down there and check it out. Hate to walk, get my shoe. Nah, I can't do that. I don't want to get my shoes all in this, but it's too late. I just got a bunch of that crap on my shoes. Look at that. Oh, look at this. Just from me moving those rocks. Isn't that special? Look at, oh my Lord. Wow. Unfortunately, I decided to throw my new Keen hiking boots away. I threw my favorite jacket away. I threw all my clothes away. Yeah, so as I'm walking through the water, that's why I threw my new Keens away, threw my clothes away, my jacket away. Next time I come, I would bring long gloves and respirator. I don't even know if my respirator, however, would filter out butyl acrylate. We are a little bit screwed here. Okay, we're gonna look here, see if I move these, see what goes down in this little pocket. Now, in trout fishing, oh my gosh, I just moved that. Look at all that crap. I just moved that little brick. Let's move this guy. Create a little disturbance. Let's see what goes down in here. Look how clear it is. We'll find out in a second. Oh my, everywhere I move a rock, it's all, how many tens of thousands of gallons? Look at this. Look, compare it to the pictures a minute ago. Look at that. It just keeps on coming. See all that? That was beautiful looking clear water a minute ago. Get it from a different angle. So this wasn't some parlor trick that this person did when they threw the rock in the water. This whole creek is just filled with chemicals. So if you look closely here, you can see this thing. That's the EPA's, I don't know what you'd call it. I don't know what the purpose of it is, because I don't believe that's going to stop chemicals. Maybe they're collecting samples, but I don't think so. Yeah, this is crazy. And then this is where I was overturning rocks. If you watched this whole movie, thank you. I didn't want to take too many cuts or edits because I don't think anybody would think that this was fake, but I wanted to show it just uncut so that you could see me moving the rocks and you can see the chemicals coming out. There's a bunch of things to take away from this. Number one, those chemicals are leaching into the ground. If you noticed how close that man's cornfield was to this creek, I don't know what he's going to do. And who's going to want to buy that corn? And is he going to want to eat that corn? I personally would not. The man across the road, his dogs, he doesn't allow his dogs out because he doesn't want them anywhere near the water. As I walked back up to the car, I called my friend and I was talking to him and I said, man, I have a headache. Now, I'm 59 years old. And I always brag that I don't get headaches. I don't know what a headache is. The only time I've ever had a headache, probably 3 times in my life that my head is hurt, is when it was associated with a flu or some kind of illness. And I got a really bad headache by the time I walked up to the car. And I told him it was funny and it'd probably just pass. but the headache continued. So then when I went to bed that night, so I was having really bad dreams and nightmares, and I can't even remember what they were. But when I finally woke up, it was 5:30 in the morning, and I realized my neck hurt really, really bad, and both my shoulders and upper back hurt. I mean, excruciating pain. But I was so groggy, I just continued to lay there, and I also felt uncomfortable. So once I kind of got my senses, I got up to use the bathroom, and this is 5:30 in the morning, and I had explosive diarrhea. And that diarrhea continued through the entire next day, where I was in and out of the bathroom. But also beyond that, my throat was burned. I use the word burned because it felt like the worst case of strep throat I've ever had times two. And it felt like somebody took sandpaper and just rubbed the tissue off. It was just raw. And my nasal tissue was just burning. And my chest was burning. And still now I have a little bit left, but that went away rather quickly, maybe in a 2-day period of time. And it was ironic because I was so proud that I had no symptoms. If you see my interview on Greg Kelly and some of the other ones, I was kind of saying, hey, I'm not going to fake anything. I felt as I did prior to the accident until I went to this creek. And this creek is pretty close to my home. But I was in the creek, and watching this video, I realized how much I was actually sniffing and how hard I was breathing, trying to smell, which is just foolish. I don't even know why I didn't think of that while I was doing it. I'm actually trying to smell the chemicals. How dumb is that? And then I thought, hey, also what may have made this so bad, where I hurt my lungs and my throat, is that you can see this stream is rapids. It's not a very slow creek at this point. And I was wondering if that would stir up the vapors from the chemicals, even when you don't see them, because they're in there. They're just in higher concentrations on the bottom of the bed. So they're all through that water. And keep in mind, there is not a living soul in this river. This is a river full with crayfish, salamanders, all kind of organisms. They're all gone. And I stated this before. I wasn't really thinking about it till later. Why would the Norfolk Southern crew need all of those fish? There were some viral pictures going around where a townsperson, a young guy, he was at night and he was joking. He said, hey, they forgot 2 barrels. There were 2 big blue plastic barrels that were sealed, and they were labeled fish on top. When there's a fish kill, the game warden or whoever is not going to take all the fish. They don't care if the fish are there. They're going to take enough to take samples and find out why those fish died. Every single dead fish is gone from this creek. Every dead frog is gone from this creek. If you're up on the bank or you're walking on the road looking down, you would think it was a normal, ordinary day and there wasn't just a train bomb 2 weeks earlier. But it's funny. I guess these people are lazy or they don't want to walk through thicket, because he said, hey, come on, let me show you these dead fish if you want to see some. I guess they didn't want to come up this far. And I would bet that if we go up further up the river, where it's a little harder to get through, that there would be a lot more dead fish upstream. Now, keep in mind, you saw that bridge that goes over this creek. So it is very clean right there. So that if press comes and parks on that bridge, they're not going to see a whole bunch of dead fish and dead frogs and life forms in the creek. So they just pass by. Looks clear to me, until you go down and move some rocks. A word of caution, I would not have my children go down and play around. Now, they're not going to. I know you won't let them do that, but they might want to go move some rocks around. And kids are mischievous. Just let them know that stay away. But if for some reason you would go down there, just spend a few minutes or you're going to hurt yourself. You can seriously harm your health. And that goes for adults too. Now, I'm just recklessly thinking about trying this again with my waders, and I will throw those away. I'm a fisherman, so I have waders as well. I will bring my 3M respirator that you guys may have seen me working on, like construction jobs and things. But, a lot of those don't, they do not filter out VOCs. So I'm also wondering about something that, no questions are answered. We're just all in the dark. There is a report that the tankers were being cooled by unattended water hoses, and they were cooling the tankers off. And this was then stopped, and the tankers were heating up. And that is the rationale they used for blowing up the tankers, doing the controlled burn, was it called? Or what I would like to call, and people like to call, the train bomb. If that is the reason that they stopped cooling the tankers, that needs to be investigated. It seems like a lot of reporters are lazy now. Another thing I want to know is, before, we were all glued to the press conferences because we are in the town and we wanted to know. So when they would come on, we'd be glued to the TV. And the report initially was 5 tankers were involved that had vinyl chloride. And 2 of those tankers were only half empty and 3 were full. Does that mean that when they left their origin, they were only half full? I doubt it, those 2 that were half empty. If they were full when they left, where did those, I suppose, thousands of gallons of vinyl chloride go? The early reports that we know they went into the waterways and into our storm drains, but how much leaked out? How much was vapor? And how much actually leaked out into the ground? I know somebody has a good idea, but that is just unanswered. How many thousands of gallons of vinyl chloride leaked out? And it wasn't until later that we even knew vinyl chloride was on the in the tankers. It wasn't two or 3 days later. 2 days later, maybe Sunday night, and this happened Friday night. I'm sure Norfolk Southern knows exactly what was on their train as soon as it left the origin. And to let the public not know. See, I treated a fireman the following day, and I said, hey, there was rumors that was vinyl chloride, and this would be Saturday morning. He said, yeah, there's vinyl chloride, and it's leaking, and it's burning. And I said, wow. And he said, that's the least of what there is on the train of chemicals. And I thought he was just bullshitting, just town talk. But how would he know that? And the public isn't told that. And it wasn't until much later that a lot of more chemical names were released, among them being, one of them being butyl acrylate. And it's so funny. I have a guy that comes into my office that works in a canning company. They make cans. I believe that's what it is, or maybe it's a paint company, local. And he had to move out of a certain area and move out on the docks because the butyl acrylate was giving him so much, just his health problems. So he knew what butyl acrylate was. And he talked about it being so horrible that they have to be so careful and follow checklists when it's delivered to where they are and they put it in their container. They have to put a special hose on the tanker or whatever delivers it. Then they have to put a vent hose, another vent hose, hooked. You can think of it kind of like like a submarine hatch, how they will close it. And that air has to circulate, and you have to vent it so that the butyl acrylate comes out into their container from the tanker. But it's venting itself. It lets air out, and then you put the air back in that was in the tanker. So the air from the tanker never leaves that tanker because they don't want even a molecule of butyl acrylate in the air in their workshop. And I guess that's dictated by their work or maybe OSHA. But he said that stuff is just horrible, and he'd be more worried about butyl acrylate than he would the vinyl chloride. So what's interesting is butyl acrylate is the big plume or blob, as you can call it, that was seen passing through Steubenville, Ohio, on the Ohio River, headed to Cincinnati, which, as of this recording, the day prior, Cincinnati on Sunday night had closed their water intakes from the Ohio River for the entire city water supply because they were concerned that butyl acrylate was going to get in their water system. That is 250 miles south of us. Can you imagine how far that is? And the EPA and everybody saying our water and our ground is safe. And if it can travel 250 miles, what's it doing in our ground here? I'm sure it's leaching right into the ground. So it's just a mess. And as you heard me state, when I called the EPA certified lab, they told me there is no test for butyl acrylate. The ironic thing is, he said to me, well, if you don't have vinyl chloride in your water, then you can extrapolate. It's not 100%, but you can kind of extrapolate that you're not going to have butyl acrylate as well, because if the other ones test negative, you would kind of just think you wouldn't have the other chemical that was spilled. Well, the funny thing was that all tests for vinyl chloride were negative in the Ohio River. Maybe not all, but by the time I got down to Steubenville, reports were that there was no vinyl chloride, but there was a lot of butyl acrylate. So that kind of goes against his theory. If vinyl chloride would have to be possible because it came out of the same spill, it would have to be there in order for butyl acrylate, its partner in crime, had to be there too. Well, that negates what he told me. So there you had butyl acrylate with no positive testing for vinyl chloride way down south in the Ohio River. Why couldn't the same thing happen here? If this is truly butyl acrylate, it could be going into this guy's well and the guy next to us and my well. That's why we have to retest and retest and retest. And he told me that there is no test to determine if you have butyl acrylate in your well water. And isn't that just special? So we are in a major predicament here. The last thing I'd like to say is, the CEO of Norfolk Southern, he has a bunch of people that work for him, his executives and his team leaders, and they all have to multitask in their duties. And I know that's true because if one of them weren't able to multitask, they would be fired. Anybody that owns a business knows that people in higher levels have to have the ability to do multiple things at once. Norfolk Southern told our mayor, and our mayor accepted it, that they could not do anything. They couldn't go out anywhere else until they complete the cleanup of the initial crash site. That's just ridiculous. We need massive help here. We need shovels, excavators, earth movers, bulldozers. We need crews to clean these creeks up. And when I say creek, this is a major water supply. I'm not talking about a little trickle. This is a Leslie Run, which runs through the entire town. And there's a lot of volume of water that runs here, and it runs right down to the Ohio River. And it is infecting and poisoning our land right here. Why? There is no reason they can't do this simultaneously. So I spent 45 minutes down here. Did any of you see a soul besides a couple tourists on the bridge? There is nobody working at this site. Somebody is going to have to pay. I would assume we're all going to lose our homes. There's going to be a lot of health problems. And at this moment, I'm signing off because I can't think of anything else. Let's just say I am now speechless. I'm going to add a couple afterthoughts here. Why would the Norfolk Southern want to do a controlled burn if it wasn't necessary? Why would they take the hoses off if that's what happened? And lastly, in the press conference, if I'm not mistaken, I can't find it anymore. They said the rail cars, the tankers, could blow at 180 degrees. And they were 150 before. I believe they were 150 before, and they didn't blow. Then they started to cool down to they cooled down. And then they started to rise again when he came, Chief Drabick came on and said, we have a chance of a catastrophic failure. There's been a drastic change, and they're up to 130 degrees. Unless someone misspoke, because I specifically played this back over and over again during a press conference, they were prior at 150 and they didn't blow. And they went lower. Then they came back to 130 and they started to rise again. And so they decided to blow them up. Well, a couple things. If they didn't blow at 150, what makes them think they would blow at 130 when they really blow at 180? But they could have rigged them up and watched the temperature carefully. And if it got to 160 or 165, then they could have just blown them. That's something to really think about. And then they ran the trains through a contaminated area anyway. So why would they? What's their motivation? Well, some people believe that their motivation would be they were so behind. There were just trains stacked up for miles waiting to get through. And so they did that controlled release, the train bomb. They moved the rail cars right off the tracks. They laid tracks over that contaminated area. Boy, and they just ran those trains right through. And none of these townspeople and myself have ever seen that amount of trains come through this town. Our town is always busy with trains, but nothing like this. Every 10 to 15 minutes, there was a train just coming through our town, driving over contaminated areas. So, those of you who say, well, they didn't really have a choice. Maybe they didn't. Maybe they truly had to blow them up. Or, as some people think, did they do that so they could get the trains a-rolling? Some food for thought.